Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Black Knights Weekly. I'm Nick DeSanctis. This week we'll meet statistically the most infuriating defender in college basketball, head over to Tate Rink for night school, and meet a wrestling coach with a couple ties to West Point. In a recent article out from Sports Illustrated, Army freshman Tanner Omlad was named the most infuriating defender in the nation statistically. Omlad, having a great start to his collegiate career, had the chance to talk with him this week, find out how he ended up at West Point and what it's like to have his name grace the pages of SI.
Well, right after going into my senior year in AAU basketball, Coach Allen gave me a call in early August, and I never even knew of West Point until now, being on the West Coast. And so he started talking to me, had an in-home visit in late September, had me come out here in October, and I committed when I got back. My high school coach would slow the game down. We played just defense. Well, we play defense here too, but we try and move the ball up the court a lot faster. I am an energy guy. I know my role. I'm not supposed to score that much. Just play defense on their best guy and try and shut him down. My grandpa on my dad's side was drafted in the early 60s, and so that's the only military I have.
How do you feel about that?
That's a great honor to get. I was very proud of that. My parents were even more, and same thing as my grandma and grandpa. They were just very proud of me.
Is Coach Spiker's style? It's time for this week's Night School. We headed over to Tate Rink, where sophomore forward Andrew O'Leary takes us through the paces on how to shoot a puck. Wrist shot, slap shot, backhand, all come in very handy out on the ice, and here's how to get them done.
I'm Army sophomore forward Andrew O'Leary, number 7. Here today to teach you how to shoot a puck. For the wrist shot, you're going to start with the puck between your feet. Your feet are about shoulder width apart. Hold the stick comfortably. Your lower hand's about in the middle of the shaft. Puck's going to start from the middle of your blade to the heel. And when you shoot it, you want to shift your weight from your left foot to your right foot. And when you shoot, you're going to want to roll the puck off the end of your toe and point at your target. So you start back, the weight's back, puck's comfortable on your stick. You're going to come through and shift your weight. So pretty simply, just like this. Now for the slap shot. For the slap shot, you're going to start pretty similar to the wrist shot. Keep the puck in between your feet. Feet are about shoulder width apart. You're going to start up, just line it up. Feel comfortable with your stick. Have your hand comfortably in the middle of your shaft here. And you're just going to wind up. Bring the stick back about mid-height. You're going to want to hit the ice before you hit the puck in your follow-through to flex your stick. So you're going to come down, flex your stick, and that flexion is going to cause the puck to propel faster. And like your wrist shot, you want to shift your weight as you come through. So simply, mid-height, follow through. Lean back, shift your weight in your follow through. The backhand, similarly to the wrist shot, you're going to keep the puck about middle between your toes here. Feet are about shoulder width apart. And as always, you want to start on your back heel of your back foot and follow through to your front foot to get more power. So start the puck middle to the heel of your blade, just wherever's comfortable. And you're going to shift your weight as you come through. I'm Andrew O'Leary, and that's how you shoot a puck.
The motto for the Army wrestling program is Build and Believe. That motto come up with by head coach Joe Heskett. One of his assistants, Paul Young, in his 3rd season out of Indiana, has taken that very personally. Paul had the opportunity to coach his brother here at West Point and has some other ties to the program. He tells us how he ended up at West Point and how he got into wrestling in this week's Army One-on-One.
I come from a family of 7. I'm number 6. A little brother who wrestled here and graduated last year is obviously number 7. So my oldest brother kind of came home one day and was like, I'm going to try wrestling. He was doing hockey and baseball and basketball and soccer and everything else. And so it kind of took my dad invested all this time and effort into all these other sports, and he comes home and wants to do wrestling. It was kind of a shock, for my dad and for family and for my family. But he fell in love with it, and then everyone in my family kind of followed suit, except for my my two sisters. Although they can beat some guys up just because of the competitive household that we had. So that's really what got me into wrestling, was just my older brothers, and I fell in love with it. Everyone had their own unique style. I think I may have gotten the best out of some of them just because of I was, the one that was training at the time. But my oldest brother was very talented. He wrestled at University of Michigan. My other older brother wrestled at University of Michigan. My third older brother wrestled at Harvard, and I wrestled at Indiana, and then obviously my little brother wrestled at West Point. So we've all been very blessed to have experienced quite a bit in the sport, and just trying to use that experience to help these guys here. Uniquely enough, I actually was recruited. It came down to, I narrowed the schools down to 2, and that was actually here at West Point. So I was recruited by Barbie, who was the coach before Coach Heskett, and IU, and I eventually chose IU because it was from Bloomington, so it was a hometown, and I don't think at 18 I quite could grasp what this place offered, the opportunity of it, but God works in mysterious ways, and I'm back here loving what I'm doing and able to help Army out as much as I can. It was more than just my little brother, although that was a huge blessing. One of the greatest experiences of my life, coaching him, having the opportunity to be with him, to rekindle our brother friendship, and he's my best friend, and so anytime you have the chance to coach blood, it's pretty special, especially with how close my family is. I can't take credit for the Build and Believe, because that was definitely here. That was Coach Heskett's philosophy, and but it's definitely something that I have grasped and really kind of fell in love with in a certain degree because of how much I believe in it. It makes total sense because you look at the great history of Army, but specifically with the wrestling program. Although we've had some great some great history here, at the same time, there's so much more that can be done. There's so much more that can be built, and that's what we're doing. We're building something very special that's going to have great longevity, not just good for a couple of years or sporadic here and there, but I truly believe that what we're doing is going to last years to come. And that's what really excites me about being here is starting something very special and doing things that haven't necessarily been done here before. So you're building, and we're creating our own history, and that's pretty special to be a part of.
Thanks so much for joining us on this week's edition of Black Knights Weekly. Remember to like the Black Knights on Facebook, follow on Twitter, subscribe on YouTube, and for the latest news and information on all your Army sports teams, visit GoArmySports.com. Until next time, for Night Vision, I'm Nick DeSanctis.